What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I am your host, Rexx Ruger. That, if you couldn't tell by those enormous big-ass chompers, is the Freddie Mercury puppet. We're back with another exciting episode. This, of course, is where the cool kids come to chop it up with your boy, Rexx Ruger. We're about to get down with another one right now. Of course, you might also look at me and say, hey, you look a lot like David Lee Roth. Yeah, that's right. You're correct. I do. And of course, I make that happen with this little miracle in a can. Get you some, up your game. You'll never look this good. Forget it, rule it out, but you'll step up a few notches. That's all I'll say. I can't promise you rockstar good looks. I've got the genetics. You don't. Hardy har har. Joke's on you. Don't hate, congratulate. What can I do? What can I do? Got a great guest coming on here that I'm super excited about. Let me get my obligatory promos out of the way. Of course, make sure to like and follow Pod Scum on Facebook. And of course, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay tapped in. Our guest is here. Let's get the fuck down to the brass tacks. I'm wired up and high. Edibles. I'm edibled up. Full disclosure, audience. There he is. What's up, my man?
Hey, what's going on? Good to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm glad we got a chance to make this happen, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Listen,
sir.
man, I've been watching videos. I've been soaking up Year of the Dragon stuff like crazy.
Man.
I'm on my game and I'm doing my homework, man.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Thank you, Rexx.
Yeah, I got to get right into it right away, though, man, because one thing I really want to get out of the way is because I see a lot of kids in school that get into pushed into playing instruments that they don't want to play. A lot of people don't gravitate to the trombone. Did you gravitate to it immediately?
So it's a funny thing because I was actually just recently watching like a skit video, one of those TikToks, where it's a tuba player and his first instrument was the trombone. So similarly to him, I started instrumental trombone in 8th grade. I was about 12 years old, going on 13 because my birthday is in September. And I really was anxious about taking the class. It was one of my last like elective choices for middle school, mainly because I didn't think I would be able to like do well in the class. Like everything about it gave me anxiety. Like my dad, when I was younger, and he told me when he was in school, he played snare drum in marching band for high school. But other than that, like my parents didn't have like instruments in the house. They weren't, like into it or in that way. And they didn't have the experience from like high school besides my dad playing snare drum a little bit. So
did the school push you towards the trombone, or did you say I want to play that instrument?
So I told my band director, he was a new band director at the time. My band director's name for my 8th grade band was Mr. Martin. He had
shout out to Mr. Martin.
Yes, man.
Yeah,
I'm so grateful for him.
Yeah.
He had just taken over from a beloved middle school director named Mr. Meredith, who like people I would play in high school marching band with, and in that 8th grade band that year, that was 1999 for me. When I joined the band for 8th grade class, Mr. Martin, I told him I either wanted to play trumpet or drums. There were too many trumpet players and drummers, but he let me try out for trumpet. I couldn't play into the mouthpiece because it was too small, and so immediately he said trombone. And I said, okay. So I had no real like knowledge at that time about a lot of the other instruments. I knew of them, but I wasn't familiar with like how they sounded. And so learning to play the trombone, I just fell in love with it like as soon as that happened, So shout out to Mr. Martin, like because I couldn't produce sound out of the trumpet mouthpiece that really shaped my life as a musician. And I worked really hard at it. That 8th grade year, I spent a lot of time in the practice rooms. I stayed, I joined the band like that wasn't involved in just the 8th grade class. And because of that, my high school band director, Mr. Pullum, kind of like recruited me because I was originally scheduled at that time to go to a different high school. And this middle school that I went to, that high school that I ended up in is kind of a feeder school to that high school, but it's not really, because they're a little further away from each other.
Yeah.
And so I was living outside of the school district zone,
Right.
Still in Los Angeles Unified School District, but like where I was living, I should not have gone to pretty much where I was going for 8th grade and where I was going for high school.
You had to go to a shittier school. You had to go to a shittier school.
So
I've been there too, man. I've been there too. Yeah.
I was supposed to, but the cool thing about that was Mr. Pullum I got to meet him. I got to listen to what would eventually be the high school that I went to, and he basically kind of like recruited me because he needed trombone players. He felt I was a good fit for what would be the music magnet there. They did not have an established music magnet for the high school, and so when I started there in 2000, that was the first year of the music magnet program at Washington High School, where I went to high school. So I was the top of the class of that first initial graduating class, which happened in 2003. So Mr. Pullum, his claim to fame is being a longtime educator. He still teaches in the inner city. I shout him out numerous times in anything that I kind of do, mainly because he played trumpet on Sunless Saturday, at the end of Sunless Saturday for Fishbone, and he had a close relationship with them since the late 80s, early 90s. So he would tell us the stories about him playing for Saturday Night Live with those guys for Sunless Saturday, and that's him at the end of the infamous only time Fishbone played Saturday Night Live. That video, you see a trumpet player in a bit of a tuxedo step out.
They did only play Saturday Night Live once, huh? Only once.
Yeah, they pissed off Lorne Michaels, so they got banned.
Yeah, that's punk rock though. That's the punk rock move though. That's cooler to have pissed off Saturday Night Live and not get asked back and just have one kick-ass performance and just, mic drop, walk off.
Yep, just like Leftover Crack in Cypress Hill.
Yeah. But I do want to make mention, if people that are a couple minutes into watching this, we're not sitting here saying that you're your granddaddy's Lawrence Welk era trombone player. You're jumping around and doing a lot of shit back there with the trombone. I don't want to make it like you're just some fucking guy standing in a band. You're getting busy with that trombone, man. You're dancing around, you're singing, you're multitasking, and you know what? I got to ask you, that's got to take a lot of breath control, though, right? Singing and blowing into the thing and alternating the two.
That is true, and so I will say the conditioning that I went through, and honestly, high school really made a huge difference as to who I am as a trombone player. All of that were my formative years, because when I graduated from Washington High. My band director, Mr. Pullum, he is an amazing, accomplished trumpet player, but he's also like a very passionate educator, and without his influence, and honestly, like, he opened the door for me to walk into a spot in Fishbone. So I graduated from UCLA. My degree is in music history, so it's not actually in performance, but I tried to walk away from music when I got to high school. My other passion is technology, computers, and stuff like that. And I just struggled in college, mainly because, like, now I give the advice to my kids that I spent all my formative years in high school playing in bands 6 days a week. We gave back. We had a program that Mr. Pullum had founded called Kids Helping Kids. So it was a pay it forward situation where we would get lessons from professional trombone players. I would get lessons from other alumni who had graduated, who went on to do amazing things, like Isaac. I can't remember his last name. Isaac Smith. I'm sorry. Isaac was a few years older than me, an amazing trombone player. He used to play with Justin Timberlake and stuff like that. And then another amazing upper alumni by the name of Ryan. Ryan plays with Kamasi Washington. And so, like, me and Kamasi are about a grade level apart. We both played in a multi-school jazz band that used to be formed with Mr. Reggie Andrews out of Locke High School. And so my 10th grade year with my high school jazz band under the direction of Mr. Pullen. We played the Playboy Jazz Festival. And then my 11th grade year, I played the Playboy Jazz Festival with the multi-school jazz band under the direction of Mr. Andrews alongside Kamasi Washington.
Right,
So,
but in those, man, you got to be on point, though, man. You can't do your dancing and jumping around and you're wild like you can in the Fishbone in the Year of the Dragon shit, dude. You
for sure,
I mean? Like,
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like
That was my upcoming. That was my upbringing. And then when I got so I spent so many countless hours practicing playing in different bands. I even played in like a Mexican banda, mariachi style music, like anything I could do at that point. I wanted to do like any band.
But how lucky are you, man, that you have a music teacher that can just kind of walk you into a gig with Fishbone, though? That's pretty cool. You know what I mean? That's dope.
So literally the summer after I graduated from UCLA, that was 2009. He gave me an opportunity to teach for him. He was a program director under a charter school system at that time. And so he gave me my first career job. Like, so I started teaching right out of college during the summer of my, like, I just graduated, got my degree. Yeah. And then that fall, a day before I turned, let me see, that was 29. So I would have been, 23 going on 24, and the day before my 24th birthday, that was a very week, he says, there's an opportunity for you to play with Fishbone. You want to do it? And I say yes.
And so what do you got to do? Do you got to go try out, or you just automatically have the gig because they know about you already?
I automatically had the gig because I came highly recommended from Mr. Pullum. So that he told me that Monday. The gig was that Friday. My birthday was like that Saturday or something like that. And so I was like,
the first time you meet with Fishbone, because they know you're kind of a classical player playing 12 at this point, man. You talk to Angelo or the guys, and they tell you, hey, now you're taking your trombone and getting fucking crazy with it.
So I knew, you got
to punk rock it up a little.
I wasn't the I didn't know every deep catalog cut at that time. Yeah. So I was a fan, but like not a super fan as
they're legends,
I would say. I would say like I am now. And so I had seen Norwood and Angelo from like kind of a distance, because they would come up to Fernando's. That's Mr. Pullum. They would come to Fernando's, a couple of his schools, because he was overseeing multiple schools in this charter school program. And they would give back. They would give lessons to the young kids there. I didn't remember seeing them when I was a student. I just knew of them, right? Because he would tell us the same stories about Saturday Night Live and just, playing with these guys a lot. So everybody knew, right? We weren't like unfamiliar kids, but it was definitely like different getting to talk to them. So that Monday, he gave me that information about the gig on Friday. We played in San Francisco, opening for Living Color at the Regency Ballroom. Yeah. And so that was my first gig playing with Fishbone. So that Wednesday, well, first of all, I had to ask him.
What a great first gig, man! That's a great first gig, man. You get to play, and then out comes Vernon Reid. Ooh,
yeah, it was amazing. Everything about that night still lingers freshly in my brain. So I met Angelo that Wednesday. I went to his house when he was still staying at the Green Jello house. And so I didn't know all the history then about Green Jello, and I came to find out so much about it. So, talking to some of the guys in that band, some of the people who used to live there,
dude, the guy that is the band, dude, man, fucking the guy that is the band. One guy is the band. He just got bands all over the world, man. But, he's a one-man band, really, and he just goes he's got an army of people out there that he goes to any country and he has a band, and they come and wear the costumes and the whole shit, man.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah. So like I got to practice with Angelo the horn parts that Wednesday. I learned some of the stuff that I needed to know, but like we only spent like about 2 hours going over stuff. So then Friday comes around. I had to, make sure Fernando was like giving me the day off because I had classes I needed to teach. I was supposed to teach 5 classes that day.
Yeah, you can't just dump your job. Yeah.
So, and that was the cool thing about working for another working musician is that when I was in high school, Mr. Pullum would be gone just on gigs, and we kind of functioned autonomously as a band for the most part. We had assistant directors and, supervisors and all this other, chaperone type of situation. But like as a band, we functioned so autonomously. We knew exactly what our roles were, who was leadership and what needed to be done. And so similarly, on that Friday, that 2009, I'm in the van learning horn parts with Angelo that I didn't cover on that Wednesday rehearsal. So like I'm up until right before the gig, I'm like learning horn parts, you know, about.
Well, I think that people really wanted to see what you do. I would say when I was checking out shit that you do, I came across one video where you were really doing your thing with the trombone with Electric Gremlin. That was a good one, man.
Man,
good one. Yeah.
So I'm actually getting that. So Electric Gremlin kind of formed out of me jamming with a friend of mine who was actually a Fishbone roadie, but he's more accomplished than that. His name is Adam Fuller. He's a recording engineer. He owns and operates his own independent studio. He's actually the main I would say recording engineer for Zach Wild. So he's working on his stuff exclusively mainly, but he was, you know, roadieing for Fishbone, and then we, you know, became close through our connection during the tour time. Yeah. And so we decided, like, hey man, like, he invited me to his studio once he moved it from the Valley to South Bay, LA, and we would spend each week just jamming with various people, different people, you know, because I wasn't going to be the lead singer. I just wanted to play trombone with my boy. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like you kind of want to defer to Walt a little bit in the other project, right? But
I don't know. Year of the Dragon for sure.
Because Walt's a powerful figure, man. But when you guys do Year of the Dragon, though, man, he's such a fucking force, man, that you almost don't want to be co vocalist with him. You know.
Now he's pushing me out to do a lot of the like the lead stuff. Cause like I was very comfortable in my side buster role, standing next to Angelo, being in a role where I didn't have to carry the lead vocals, but working with Walt exclusively. Now I've been in that band almost 10 years. And so the previous lead singer of Year of the Dragon, one of the other founding members, his name is Rod Palmer. He goes by Rod Core. He's now our manager. He stepped aside about 10 years ago because, you know, he had a calling to not do music at that time. And he felt I was the guy to replace him. He pushed me to audition for Year of the Dragon, and I auditioned for Year of the Dragon. I didn't have to audition for Fishbone, but I did have to audition for Year of the Dragon.
Let me tell people, man, Year of the Dragon is sick, dude. There's some sick shit in there, man. And I like that new single, Lucifinger is good, man. But the one that I really like was went viral.
Went viral, yeah.
Yo, that thing starts out and then suddenly it just dives right into like a heavy punk rock fucking song, man.
Yeah,
fast.
Yeah, I gotta say, so
that's fire, man. That song is.
The other three members of the Year of the Dragon are Kareem Imes on drums. There's Mark Ray on guitar.
I'm having Mark Ray on Wednesday. We're gonna chat.
Yes, sweet. Yeah. Ooh, we're gonna pump the fuck out of this podcast.
Yeah.
You know. And then
I try, man. I see shit that I like. I do try, man. You know what I mean? Like I feel like at the essence, because I'm 51 years old, I feel like in my heart, if you're gonna do a podcast, it should be about the music world is tough right now, man. If 100 people watch this fucking video and 50 of them go out and buy your album, dude, that's still fucking in the red for you, man.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I saw, you know, when you hear me.
I mean, I would love to see all my episodes do fucking hundreds of thousands of views, man. Yeah. And it kills me when talented people come on here and they don't get those kind of views. But a lot of it is just people discovering your channel. Everybody with a camera and a microphone right now is a podcaster. You know, I mean, everybody.
No, I reviewed, you know, some of your content, man, and I'm like, I love what you do. I love the energy.
See, my thing is I got to go with the David Lee Roth Jr. fucking shtick and stand out a little bit.
So cool, man.
because to the best of my knowledge, David Lee Roth Jr. is 18 years older than me, so it is feasible, and he has no documented children, man. None.
That's
could be
cool.
me.
It could be. That would be super funny.
Yeah. But listen, man.
Awesome.
I want to ask you some more like specific questions, man. Who would you feel like as a horn player, man? Like as a horn player that the world would know. Is there somebody that you think is the most influence on your style of playing?
Oh, easy question. So, oh man, and I'm so honored and blessed to have actually shared the stage with this man, and I have to thank Norwood Fisher from Fishbone for making that happen. So I play in Norwood's other project called Trulio Disgracious. It's funk related. Funk is my wheelhouse. Yeah. And so as a young trombone player, Fred Wesley from who was James Brown's trombone player, and you know went on to have his very own, you know, great success. Originally leading the JBs, that's James Brown's band, back in the day, and then going on to have his own very successful solo project, working a lot with Maceo separately on Maceo's and the Maceo and the Max project. But
Yeah.
Fred Wesley's, you know, line of work, all of the most influential solo of his is easily Gonna Have a Funky Good Time. Gotta Take You Higher, right? By the JBs, but you know, featured on James Brown's, you know, greatest hits. Like
Come on,
that.
man. You know James Brown's never gonna not surround himself with a fucking broken band.
Man, so you know, I'm so blessed that like a couple of years ago I got to share the stage with him playing some of his most amazing instrumental tunes from his album A Blow by Blow, a Toot for Toot. But like just being able to shake his hand, tell him how influential he was to me, meant the world to me. So he's at the top of my list, even though technically, if you talk to other trombone players, they, you know, I guess if for academia's sake, they would criticize some of his technique, mainly because, and he would criticize it too, because like I read one of his books. Well, I read his autobiography, I should say, and you know, he struggled with that identity as well because he kind of got pigeonholed into the funk lexicon, but he wanted to be better at jazz trombone personally. And so,
wait a minute, this guy wrote a book that you're talking about?
Yeah, Fred Wesley. He has a book called
Fred Wesley. I'm going to write that down. That sounds fucking super interesting. That they, you know, because it's not like you hear a lot of horn players go writing their memoirs.
Oh yeah,
you know
I've got a few trombone memoirs that I've read that you know, kind of inspire me.
Well, I feel like I feel like you got to be the cream of the crop to be able to write a book and hold your own in James Brown's band. You know,
his book is called Recollections of a Sideman, and so that's kind of how I saw myself, like sideman in Fishbone. You know, Angelo and Norwood and Walt and all the OGs are such forces, and so just being alongside half of the original lineup was it was perfect for me. Like I was like, these are the three guys that I love deeply and dearly, and I spent almost 10 years in that band working alongside them. So Fred Wesley is at the top of my list. There's a few other ones that I find really great inspiration from. They're from the world of jazz, and that would be J.J. Johnson and Kai Winding. Well, I won't even say Kai. More is my top three is definitely Fred Wesley, and then J.J. Johnson, and then Curtis Fuller.
You answered that confidently too, man. You studied these guys.
Yeah.
You know these cats.
Oh man, I spent years. These are the ones for me, and so now, I try to network and connect with as many different trombone players via social media, or I love to just talk shop. I'm a huge nerd when it comes to that. So like,
that's all right though. That's how you get good at shit,
man.
People use the term nerd in a negative connotation, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean that just means you're putting some focus into some shit you're doing.
Oh man, you know? I love being. It's rare now for me to be in any project with other horn players because my main thing. I play in a cover band and I'm the only horn player, so that like helps pay my bills. You know, that's like my main money making gig. But you know, and in Year of the Dragon, Dirty Walt does not want to play horns at all. And I kind of wish we could incorporate horns into that because it's super heavy. The three piece of Mark, Kareem, and T-Bone really build all of our instrumental songs, right?
Yeah.
They build the instrumental part, and then me and Dirty Wall focus on the lyrical part. And I love how we can peanut butter and jelly this, you know.
Yeah.
I've
reached out to all those guys. I love their playing. I'll have them all fucking on it if they're willing to come
dude,
on.
they're so amazing. Like they are.
I mean, you guys are. I mean, I see. I like the thing that you're doing, man, because you know you're creating music, man, that everybody else isn't creating. You got something that sounds very different. You know what I mean? Like, and only that certain group of guys can create that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because Walt and some of those, you know, they're taking music from what they've already done and they're implementing so many different genres, man. You know, I mean, you can't just every band out there. It's hard to find new bands that excite me sometimes.
Oh,
it gets
man.
a little disappointing, you know.
I know what you mean. You know, so like that's.
I like somebody that's doing something fresh, like something that doesn't feel like you know. Sometimes you want to put something on that feels familiar, but if you're searching for new music, you don't want something that always sounds, you know, too familiar. I like to hear somebody that's doing something new, you know.
Yeah,
something that sounds original.
That's how it took me a long time to really like find my, I guess, comfortable creative space with Dirty Walt and the fellas. Like that first EP that we released about 10 years ago, It's called Rise of the Dragon. It has 4 songs on it.
Awesome.
That was my first foray into things. And so from that, like even listening back and thinking about like, because we're now currently working on a new EP. It should hopefully come out around March. Lucifinger is going to be, you know, kind of like the lead off single on that project. And
is it a full length LP or an EP? Because I know around
it's going to be
a
an EP. Yeah.
Okay.
We were considering doing a full length. Fans kind of wanted a full length before we signed
I think
this.
you made the right move, though, man.
Yeah.
People's attention span is dwindled, man. It's an EP world now.
Yeah.
Hey, man, but it is, man. People won't sit down and just like be at one with a fucking full length LP anymore, man. They just don't have the fucking time. It's a busy world.
Yeah,
it's bad, man. But you can't. People don't sit down and just drop the needle no more and listen to an album all the way through it and experience it. You know, they don't.
We surely are going to do a full length at some point because we just signed this deal with Manic Cat Records out of New York, and so this for the first time it's the first time I've ever been in a band where I don't necessarily feel like a hired gun because that's my job. Like I get hired. I learn a set. I might be a member of the band, but it's not as if I helped create it. So Electric Gremlin is one of those things that I was there for from the ground up. But every other band, including Year the Dragon, I'm a guy who then stepped in to fill a role. And now that role is mine. And
I can safely tell you, man, that when I Google you guys, man, and I see band pictures, man, I feel like Walt has you right up there and equates you every bit as a front man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know? And that is a huge boost to my confidence. And I don't think I could have put out any of the lyrical content that I've written for Year of the Dragon by myself. Mainly because like I just don't have that confidence without a band behind me or a group of people that like support me and in that way. Yeah.
Well, what's the creative process like now in Year of the Dragon, man? Is it collaborative? Are you getting input and getting songs and or participating in the creative process?
Not the instrumental so much, but definitely the lyrical. That's where I find my role. I want to create more for the band. I have a particular track I'm working on that I want to submit to the fellas. But it was even difficult before we like started finishing up these first sets of tunes for this particular release. We had a full-length album come out in 2019 called Take Control. We self-produced it. We recorded it at my buddy who does Electric Gremlin with me, Adam Fuller's studio. And, you know, I know he got the best takes out of us, the best enunciation, all of those things. But creatively, it's still the 3-piece of the rhythm section, Mark, Kareem, and T-Bone. They work on some instrumentals and then they submit them to me and Walt, and then we do the lyrics. So it's real peanut butter and jelly. Like they're the peanut butter, we're the jelly, or whatever.
But you got a heavy hand in it, though, man. I mean,
yeah.
Like you can see the scenario where you come into a band where a guy's been doing this a long time and he's a real OG, man, like a Walt, man. Yeah. And he just doesn't let a young guy, man, have a piece in there. You know what I mean? Like at least he lets you in on the creative process. Shout out to him, man.
I actually feel weird sometimes because like Lucifinger, I do all the 3 verses basically, and Walt's backing me up. And so then there are some songs that like are the complete opposite where I back him up, or then there's some songs where we just trade off. And so with this particular song, the fellas sent it to us, Kareem, Mark, and T-Bone, and immediately on the first rough draft, I wrote all the verses. Not like finalized versions, but definitely like I was like, yo, I want this to sound like this. I want this. And I took a bit of direction on how the lyrics should be presented, how it sonically that should come out on top of those things. And you know, looking back, I'm like, damn, I really want Walt to be more prominent in certain stuff. But I think, you know, like certain times, like even in our Rise of the Dragon EP and our Take Control, there are just certain songs where it's like it's mainly Walt, it's mainly Jay, and then there's certain songs where we trade off like Run DMC, and that I feel like is the key for both of us making music in Year of the Dragon right now, And like, I love that process. Actually.
See, that's the
like,
kind of process I want to have with me and the Freddie Mercury puppet back there. But he's just a mouthful of fucking teeth, man. I need a real sidekick.
He's got great teeth, but he's got great teeth though. Those are nice.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Super pearly whites, you know, like knock the knife out here.
Now, here's something I want to ask you, man. What about like, and I do want to let people know before we go on any further, man, that when you're talking about making music, as I don't know if we've clarified, Year the Dragon, you are in a band with the legendary. You were just throwing around Dirty Walter, whatever, Walt Kitty of Fishbone.
Yes, sir. Yes,
a bona fide legend.
That man, you know, he's taught me a lot, musically, about life, about, you know, hell, just rolling weed, like just being around Walt.
That's important to know.
That's important to know.
Kids out there, if you're watching, man, I know I usually mark these as no, only for adults only, man. But if any kid guys, that's my disclaimer. Don't do drugs, kids. But
you know, I'm a late bloomer.
I have been guilty, man. A couple hours before this episode, I took a couple edibles, man. So I'm feeling all right too, man.
Oh, after this, I'm gonna take a walk.
Yeah.
But you know, Dirty Walt, like, just
great guy, man.
Him having so much experience, you know, and then he wasn't in Fishbone when I played that first show.
I think people would want to know, man, what's he like, man? Like, he seems like he comes off as like a real presence, man. Like when you're around him, man, like how is he like in orchestrating and running a band? Like, is he pretty chill to work with? I mean, he's been doing it for a long time.
He's amazingly chill to work with, and really, he's a teacher more than I think he realizes. He's a great father. He's a great husband. You know, he's a great, like, just person to have in your corner and to be in his.
See, that's why he'll always have a great band, man, because fucking young musicians will gravitate to a guy like that, man. You know?
Yeah, because, like, he didn't have to take me under his wing for any of that. Like, when he came back to Fishbone, you know, I was, of course, nervous because, like, you know, I had known Fernando was playing, like Mr. Pullum was playing trumpet, but he was only filling in for at that time Curtis Story, and then of course Curtis had some health issues, and I think he had decided to leave Fishbone for his own purposes, and for me similarly, the previous person that was in the trombone role before I was there was John McKnight, amazing multi-instrumentalist. He's a huge sonic sound on the Still Stuck in Your Throat album from 2007 for Fishbone, and so he was transitioning out of Fishbone, which gave me the opportunity to fill that role and have a permanent spot for a while.
Now you guys are going to be touring next year, though, right, man? So like, like, what kind of run do you go out on, man? And like, is touring something that's easy for you to do? I mean, are you just doing music full time, man? Like, I know sometimes people can only go out for so long. They might have day jobs. It's a grind, man, right?
So when I was for the 20 years now, I have been a professional musician since I was 19. I don't count the high school stuff, even though I got paid for some of that.
Yeah,
I count
you, man.
I count the 19-year-old me walking into a studio after having put my instrument in a closet for UCLA, and I was just like, I spent 4 years doing gigs, gigs, rehearsals, whatever, 6 days a week, and jazz band, concert band, like mariachi, like I said, like whatever it was, gospel, like whatever it was, I wanted to play. I didn't give a fuck. Like I love playing so much. At least you didn't
have one of those instructors like the kid in the Drum movie had to beat the shit out of
Whiplash. That shit was amazing.
That's a great movie.
You know, he was very encouraging. He just wanted everybody to practice. So at 19, I got an opportunity to walk into a studio and do a recording session, and like that changed almost everything for me. And then I got an opportunity to play with some alumni who also were taught under Mr. Pullum, and so they took me on my first tour in 2006, opening for Slightly Stoopid on like a West Coast run. And you know, like also Fernando saw me playing with those guys like that time. He didn't know I still played. And so then him finding out that I still played through my connection with those guys, I think really opened the door for me to get a job under him and play with Fishbone. Those are, I credit my a mentor of mine, Corey, who is the saxophone player for the band I speak about called the Wild Bunch, and they're all made up of alumni and family who went to the same high school but graduated a few years older than me. So all those alumni were huge mentors in my life.
Yeah.
And so I hold
That'll
them
get you
really
a long
close
way,
to my
man.
heart, man.
Good people paving the way, man. It'll get you far, man.
So that network really has been crucial to me. So for quite a while, all I did was play gigs. Money got tight, you know. I'm a dad, so like that really made things rough. So right now, I do have a day job in addition to doing the gigs, but I equate them as equal, and I equate music as my main career and my day job as kind of like my side hustle to help ends meet, because like music is my identity at this point in my life. I've come to feel that way strongly about what I do and the what I plan to do as my goals from here on out. There was a time where, like, even over the last decade, where it became a bit of a struggle to really see music as something I wanted to do forever. But after setting that aside for a little bit, getting a little more of my like business acumen together, trying to make sure I make enough money to make my ends meet and like can live. I feel like I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable with the amount of gigs I take and the amount of money I get paid for gigs.
Yeah.
But you know, I just never aspired to be like a rich trombone player, for instance.
Well, you're never going to go backwards, man. You already played alongside a legend like Walt, man. Like you know, you've already made it, man. You know what I mean? That paves your resume right there, man. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
You know? And most importantly, you're an entertainer out there, man. You know what I mean? You're not just, like I said earlier, you're not just standing there playing a trombone. There's a lot of physicality in what you're doing.
You know, I'm a guy that is highly energetic. One of the things that like I get the most compliments on is my energy. You know, I do want my like musical ability to kind of stand a test of time and like be something that like people might remember me for. But at this point in my life, I think a lot of people who are like happy with what I do are happy about the energy I bring, the dedication to the craft that I have, because I take all of that stuff seriously, because the music is the forefront and I work really hard at it. So I'm happy to be a musician. I do have another side job, but I'm highly anticipating the day when this is all I get to do anymore, or have to do rather, for money.
You're a lot better off than a lot of horn players, man, because most horn players have already fucking died from smack by your age.
Yeah, this is true.
All them jazz players were all tuned up, man. Always. Right? They were. That's a fact.
That's facts.
Yeah.
That is facts.
All right, I got to ask you a couple of my subjective questions, because I ask them to all the guests, man. Yeah. Okay, so if you could put together your Mount Rushmore of all-time greatest artists that mean the most to you, your top 4, your goats.
Man. Okay, so definitely I would say Fred Wesley's still up there, you know, like as an artist, like as a musician, as everything.
And they don't just have to be horn players, man. Like they can just be musical artists that you love.
Most definitely. He's up there. Jay-Z is one of them. Like I love rap and hip hop. Like I'm into some commercial stuff, but like just during my formative years, I discovered I won't say I discovered, but I discovered that I love other people named Jay.
Yeah.
And so him being like a huge, tremendous, successful artist at that time, when like all I did was either play trombone and listen to like commercial hip hop. It was jazz and hip hop for me at that time. Yeah. And so like he's a huge influence to me as a lyrical writer, as a lyricist, as a songwriter, as just somebody who loves poetry and rap being a form of poetry as a whole.
That's half of Mount Rushmore right there.
Yeah, most definitely for me. The other two, I would say, would probably be Michael Jackson. As a kid, my family on my dad's side have some ties to Gary, Indiana.
Okay.
Some of my great aunts still live in Gary, Indiana. And I think that influenced my dad, who then influenced me as a young kid to listen to like the Jackson 5 greatest hits, So like as a kid, I always kind of like felt I could be better as a vocalist, as a singer. You know, like I never did more in choir than but like join choir for maybe like half a semester or something as like a fifth grader. But like now being a vocalist and like being a Year of the Dragon and transitioning from trombone to doing like straight up just vocal stuff, I've realized that like on my life, Michael Jackson as a songwriter, singer, entertainer, like that has such a huge impact on me. He has to be up there.
Man. Yeah, I get it. For me, it's always going to be Prince. I love Prince, man.
Yeah, see,
I mean, I'm a rock and metal guy, man, but I'm a Prince guy at the very core, man.
I mean, totally get that. And so my aunt on my mom's side, she's heavily influenced by Prince.
I mean, I would say, man, Prince is the fucking 20th century Mozart.
Yeah,
man. I mean,
that's
he is,
facts.
Man. Yeah,
you know that's super facts. It's just for me personally, I knew about MJ first because of my dad as a young man.
And I was like in the 80s. MJ and Prince were like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. They like always running neck and neck, you know.
If my dad had loved Prince more, you know, I would say Prince. You know what I'm saying? I
just think it's crazy, man, that Prince knows how to play. It's like you can hand Prince your instrument and he'd play it better than you and hand it back to you. You know what I mean? It's just
very
crazy,
true.
Man. I mean,
that's very true.
You know, with up to a dozen of fucking different instruments. Plus, he's shredding on the guitar. He's doing all the same singing and dancing as Michael Jackson, and he's playing all the instruments and writing all the songs and producing all the albums.
Yeah, like all of the things that you want out of like a virtuoso. Like he is the man.
In 1984, man, he wins the Purple Rain, wins the Grammy, the Oscar. Like fucking, he was all over the place, man. In the 80s, man, you couldn't go anywhere and not see Prince or Michael Jackson.
And that's the truth right there.
They were the biggest people on the planet, man. Okay, so all right, so you got Michael Jackson. You got one spot left on the Mount Rushmore.
Okay, now this spot is probably the hardest spot for me to like kind of pinpoint. I think in my like personal, like if I put this on, I'm always going to be kind of like happy about the choice that I make for these four. Half of me would say
no pressure, Jay. It's only the internet. It's on here forever, but
right. No, I get you because because of like who I am as a pro, part of me would say Angelo from Fishbone, but in my like lifetime, I would definitely I'm going to have to go with, oh man, damn, this is really tough because like
well, if you're saying that Angelo did a lot for you too, man, you know,
Snoop Dogg. That's who it is. Snoop Dogg. As I wear this Snoop Dogg hat, like I had to think about that because
Snoop is one of those guys that has really played the lottery with his career, man. I mean, Jesus.
I live on the West Coast, and like that West Coast sound is kind of unique because like I'm a huge big fan of rap. That like as a kid growing up, he's an artist that like I fell in love hearing. And like again, like I was into such commercial rap. His CD Top Dog that came out in maybe like 99, 2000 was the first CD I ever paid money for. And bought.
That's always special. That's always a special spot. You always remember that.
Like, and so like, you know, I just really understand that like without those four influences, definitely that makes up the gumbo that is Jay as a musician, as a person who just loves listening to music. Like, man, those are living on the West Coast in LA, like I gotta go with Snoop Dogg. Like that as a kid in the 90s growing up, listening like his debut stuff, all of the stuff on the radio, like that really is huge to me. And then being older now, his concert is like probably the last concert that like I paid money to go see. You know what I mean? Like to be at, to buy merchandise, and to be like a fan of it, you know? And so like that's right up my alley. Yeah, that's right up my alley.
All right, so here's another one for you, man. So if I were to take you, FLYIN Jay Armant, and drop you on a desert island, you could only take one album with you, what would the desert island album be?
I've thought about this at great length numerous times, and if you ask me at different times, it may change.
It might be different. I know, man.
For sure.
Choose one of your better choices because it is going to be on the internet forever, you know? So for posterity's sake, say something that you'll at least look back on and say, that was a noble answer.
Okay.
You're right. You could change an hour from now or tomorrow or
it's gonna be it's okay. Give me a second to think about this, how I'm feeling today.
Now, do you need to now would it help if you had the artist that you're thinking of, if you had their whole discography? Would that make you feel better if you had all their work, not just the one album?
No, because like I can definitely think about what it's gonna be. I'm just narrowing down my choices. Mainly because like for me it's gonna be something like a eclectic. Is gonna have hip hop in there. It's gonna have some horns.
Yeah.
Okay. Something.
Yeah, because you got to stop and think, man. And I've had other guests stop and think about this too. You are on a desert island with this one piece of fucking music, man. You kind of want it to kind of go along with all your different moods. You know what I mean? I don't know if I want to be on the island and listen to one style of music. You know, I want a pretty diverse album.
Oh,
some days you're going to be happy. Some days you're going to be sad. Some days you're going to be like, motherfucker, I'm on an island.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have those days. You're going to have days when you're thinking about dying out there. You're going to have days where you're at death's door, and this is the music that's playing while you're fucking rotting on some fucking island, Jay. This is serious business here. And not to mention, no added pressure, Jay, but this will be on the internet forever.
I know.
Oh, remember that episode when Jay Armand said that his favorite album was that he'd take on a desert island?
Something like crap.
You got to think about what the guys in Year of the Dragon are they gonna give you slack for this for the rest of your life?
Nah. I'm unapologetically like with my choice. Damn.
See, man, when you host a podcast, man, you don't ever have to be put on the hot seat, man. Because I don't know if I could answer this, Jay. I really don't, man. Full disclosure, man, I'm surprised nobody has passed really yet. Almost everybody's given me an album, man. But there have been people that have wrestled with it for a long time, like you're wrestling with it.
Yeah, because like I have a
you want me to ask you a couple more questions and let it marinate around in there a little bit?
Let's do that.
Okay.
All
right, I'll come back about this, man. Tell me what you feel about this, man, because there are a lot of live acts nowadays who are cheating, and you see people catching them. They're using backing tracks. They're using this and that. You know what I mean? But in this day and age, man, we look back to 1990, man. They stripped a Grammy away from fucking Milli Vanilli. Should they have taken that Grammy away from Milli Vanilli?
No, I
those guys were getting out there. They had the long dreads like you. Yeah. They were dancers. They were performers. And if the project was to have a couple of fat asses in the back singing the fucking songs and letting fucking Rob and Fab go out there and do their thing, hey, dude, I loved it, man.
Yeah, so my undergraduate thesis at UCLA for musicology was about music and technology, and so at the time I was writing about the harmonics TC pedal, right? And so it harmonizes your voice in 3 parts in live like sound and everything. Right. And so I've actually evolved from that thesis to, like I've played in bands that use backing tracks. One of the bands that I play in doesn't have like,
well, sometimes you're simulating an instrument where you just don't want to have a live band member there, and you need to do it out of necessity.
Right. You know? And so it doesn't, I've played in a band that like has used horn backing tracks, and it's like, it's always a little weird for me because like I'm not always used to it, but now I'm used to it being there, right? It being an additional thing to fill out sound because you want a specific emulated sound that like nobody up there is dedicated to making because they have to do other things at the same time. Right. So like I've thought about using that in some of my own personal like creative processes, mainly because like it just all the times that I've been in a band that does that, it's like, oh, that really you can't get the drum pad sounds like if this drummer is playing the drums and having to play the drum pad samples Like sometimes you just need the tracks to play along to you on a click, to really like make it feel like you're listening to all the soundscapes
Right.
that you could really listen to. You know,
But is
like
it really
ambient stuff.
I mean, if Milli Vanilli has people back there singing it, man, isn't it just as much cheating a band going in and pro tooling themselves up? You can make anybody sound great with technology, man. Milli Vanilli were just not the authentic guys out there singing, but the voices were authentic, and the dancing and the showmanship that they were doing was authentic out there.
I think, that part.
That's a project. It's a musical project.
I think what kind of kills me is that like there are some artists, and I would consider them artists, who go out. They have the tracks, they have the auto tune, and it's all fake. But their approach to it is lackadaisical. They don't care. They just show up, and then they make money because they have.
Yeah, like, Jay, Molly Crew is talking to you.
But other than that, like most people who have those tracks, they put in the work, they put in the effort, they practice alongside those things to really get as close to not needing that stuff as possible. And then like I'll even go with like a more modern kind of like example. So one of the biggest hits of this year commercially has been Tommy Richmond's $1 Million Baby. I heard him perform it live at like a Spotify showcase, like online. I saw the video, and like some people were criticizing how it sounds without all of the overproduced sample sounds. And it's like, no, that's what a singer sounds like singing in falsetto. It's not gonna be perfect. He's very close to the record. Like you could tell that he recorded his voice on this record.
Well, that's because the consumers have gotten to the point where now, because of the technology, they expect perfection. They expect everything to be perfect. Like those old soul albums and those James Brown albums that you were talking about back in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, when they were recording those live albums, like at the Apollo and stuff, you know, they weren't making a lot of mistakes, but if they did fuck up, they left it on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It showed that they were playing loose and fucking in the groove, and sometimes you fucking make a fuck up once in a while. But it's character. It adds character to the recording.
True. So, you know, thinking about that, like I consider that perfectly okay at this point. You know, like I want to see people who like work really hard, like a T-Pain. You know, he has an incredible work ethic. He uses the auto-tune to make the songs sound a little more full. Or like a Jamie Foxx, he put out a whole auto-tune album called Intuition, and like Jamie Foxx is a EGOT guy, you know, like EGOT Grammy, you know, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, probably, you know, he could even easily achieve. And so when he put all that extra work into the Ray Charles movie, like that makes me know, like, oh, you don't need auto-tune, you just like to fucking use it, like
incredible movie,
perfectly okay. So, you know, like I definitely think that's where music has been headed for some time, and then like it's expected to kind of go in that way for certain people who wish to make songs like that. Like Year of the Dragon, it wouldn't fit because like it's weird unless we wanted some like strange kind of like soundscapes that are like maybe ethereal, that are triggered by like some action pedals on the drum pad, because there just isn't a need for like a keyboard sound that's missing because we don't have keyboards or, you know, stuff like that.
But that's the nice thing about a band like Year of the Dragon, man, because like you know, you see the pedigree of Walt having been in Fishbone, and it's okay to go weird in bands like that. People are almost expecting it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you're not getting funky with it, dude, they're wondering what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Fishbone was eclectic, man. Like Fishbone wasn't a band that you could just take them and lump them into a specific genre. You know what I mean? Like they were a little bit of everything.
Certainly. And I guess that like I would say that brings me back to your earlier question about what my desert island album would be.
While you're about to reveal it, I'll also point out back here, man, that another eclectic band, I'll shout them out because they've been good to me on here, man. Urban Dance Squad.
Yeah.
Amazing guys, amazing band. Definitely. Deeper Shade of Soul.
Yeah, those are facts right there.
Great man. It's so eclectic, man. So many different genres on their album, man. Coming from like 10 different genres, man. 10 different directions. Crazy.
Heck yeah, that is great, crucial right there.
All right, so what's the last one, man? You sounded pretty definitive right there.
I'm getting closer. Like
I guess I like the fact that you had deliberated about it, man, and taking it seriously, though, dude. I do appreciate the thought process behind it, man. I do.
Yeah, I
get that you don't want to take it lightly, man. Yeah.
Like,
because I wonder how many of my past guests have thrown out albums that they'd want to take on a desert island, and they may or may not watch this back, but they might even think like half an hour after we get done with the interview, that's fucked up. I don't think I'd want to listen to that album for the rest of my life. Why did I say that?
Nah, the thing that I could like listen to forever is going to be a funk album. I don't know if it's going to be like the album that as it was presented originally, or I feel like I would
Mandrill.
Oh man, that's a great choice.
Which I know. Shout out to Mark Ray, who's coming on later this week. He plays with Mandrill as well.
I think for me, it's gonna be like
Cool in the Gang.
James, it's gonna be a James Brown record.
Oh, okay.
Because like
I just can't fault it at all, man. I can't fault it, man. You can take the guy's whole discography. Any album would be fucking.
See, for me, it would probably be like the JBs, because like, you know, that is more of a. This is James Brown's band, and then James Brown gets up there and does James Brown's thing like he would normally do for his own record. But the JB's kind of project has Pass the Peas on it. It has Funky Good Time, like that. Volume 1. Volume 2 is a whole separate kind of thing, but Volume 1 I would say is probably my number one of all time.
I think if it has a volume 2, Jay, I think I got to give you both volumes, man. I didn't know it had a volume 2.
Yeah, there's a JB's volume 1 and volume 2. Like volume 1 has.
Maybe you're holding on to one album when you come to the desert island and you're floating on top of the other one, man. They're the last two things you got, man.
Yeah, because like that volume has Pass the Peas, The Grunt, like so many things that got sampled into hip hop, but like.
I like where you went with James Brown, because I can imagine being out on this desert island and having a James Brown album like at the Apollo in 1968. It'd be like you're having a concert every night, you know?
Yeah, dude. Oh, dude, yeah. I can listen to that forever.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you didn't leave the question on the table, most importantly, man. You resolved it, man. You resolved it.
I really had to think about it because like I originally thought it would be like something more soul, something more hip hop, but funk being the basis of hip hop is a huge thing for me. That's one of the reasons why I love funk. It is repetitive, so like if you don't like repetitive shit, you there's so many people who like I've worked with who are just like, I can't dig funk because it's too. They want change. They want you know, they want hard, aggressive rock. You know what I mean? That's what they dig, but they do like
funk is in, man. Funk is in there and in right in your pocket, man.
They can't sit. They can't sit for 13-minute long funk song with like 5 different improvisation breaks and like a drum break or whatever. You know, but I can that one song being, you know, hell, I think the original Gonna Have a Funky Good Time is like 8 minutes, and so like like just listening to Fred hit that solo to James Brown being like, I'm gonna get Maceo to play the flute, and he does a flute solo, like all of those things. For forever. It was hard to kind of narrow down because like some of the other stuff that I do really enjoy is like anime music. I do love Japanese anime style soundtracks, and like even though I can't really understand it, those things give me like great peace.
Don't blame it on me, man. It's the desert island.
Tranquility.
You can't take more than one album, man. Sorry,
but that funk is all I need. Like, to be honest, that album would be enough for me. I can listen.
All right, so let me throw this one at you, man. So if you could put your promoter's hat on, man, and you could put your band, man, on a band with any other bill, man, 1 or 2 bands, who would you love to be out on tour with, man? That would be like a dream tour.
Okay, so for Year of the Dragon, that would be Living Color, definitely Living Color, and Bad Brains.
Oh, wow. What a tour, man. Yeah, the Bad Brains are the number one fucking punk rock band of all time, bar none.
Yeah.
Everybody that comes on here, man, that I've had on here, man, from the punk and hardcore world, they all give it up to the Bad Brains, man. When you ask them the best gig they've ever seen, when you ask them the most important punk rock album, man, the Mount Rushmore of punk, man, the Bad Brains are like God.
Yep. They're there. And so I been able to share the stage with Bad Brains, George Clinton, and being a member of Fishbone at that time. Oh, and Living Color. That's right. We did a super jam back in 2018 or 2016, 2017, something like that. It was Fishbone, Living Color, Bad Brains, and that was going to be a tour at some point. It still may happen for them. You know, I think, you know, it's a little difficult to have Bad Brains because they have some health that they got to watch out for. But Living Color still kicking ass. Fishbone still kicking ass. Like,
Yep.
At one point, it was going to be Night of the Living Fish Brains, and like, you know, that's still something I hold out hope for, to see more than see as a fan, but to, like, you know, just be any kind of like side stage action, but to have been on
that
the stage,
yeah,
for a once in a lifetime hour and a fucking half.
That's
We they had 2 drum sets. We were trading off sets and songs, and then Angelo doing some of the harder Bad Brain stuff, and then Corey Glover doing some, like, they were trading off.
amazing.
Because HR doesn't like to do the hardcore stuff. He loves to do the, you know, the peaceful reggae tunes. So wow, that shit sits in my brain at the forefront. It's those are some of those classic memories that I love so much that I got to be a part of.
All right, I'm not going to let you off the hook, man. This is one that I like to throw out to everybody. So far, nobody has refused to answer, although a couple of people thought it was a little on the heinous side. But if we were able to barter with now this is where you got to get your general manager's hat on, man, like you're a sports GM, man. So if we were able to make a trade right now, a barter with God, if you will, and we could get a dead rock star back, and we could give somebody in trade, who do we want back, and who the fuck can we get rid of?
Oh man, I would
any musician, man. Who would we want back?
I would personally want back, man. Oh man, I used to have this kind of down for a minute. I would definitely probably say, I personally actually would probably say Prince. Like Prince back.
All right. And now who can we get rid of, man? This is where we got to step on some toes, Jay. This is where we got to step on some toes.
So to be kind of like a dick about it, I would probably have to say Mickey Avalon.
Okay. Now, see, me being 51, I'm not young and hip and don't have my ear to the pavement with all the music, dude. So I don't know who that is. But I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to take your word for it, Flying Jay. He's annoying.
I mean, he could be making, you know, new music, but his claim to fame would be a song called "My Dick."
Well, so that's a pretty all right. So that's a pretty good trade, then, dude. That seems pretty fucking fair, then, man. So who are we getting back again?
Prince.
We're getting Prince. Oh my God, man. Boy, are we pulling the wool over God's eyes on that one, man? We're fleecing them. We're fleecing them, man. That's the worst trade ever. That's not even fair, man. You know what, man? Fuck, we should have to throw in about another 10 musicians to get Prince back. In all honesty, man. I mean, at least.
I know.
I mean, who are we giving up, man? Kid Gavilan? What did you just say?
Oh, Mickey Avalon. He has
Mickey Avalon is gone and we're getting Prince back. Holy shit! You pulled off the trade of all trades with God right there, man. If he goes for that one, man, I got to question God's existence, man. I got to question everything I know.
It would be hilarious. I'm sorry,
man. We're getting a deal. We're getting a deal, man. So maybe like another 20 or 30 years of Prince music for this shit, man.
You know, I hope Year of the Dragon never has to open for Mickey, and then, you know, he sees his podcast.
Oh, you pretty much guaranteed it.
But he probably wouldn't. You know, like that guy is probably like, he probably wouldn't give a shit. He's got some money.
Well, so what's going on with Year of the Dragon? It looks like when I'm on the website that 2025 is going to be a big year.
It's going to be huge for us. Like the EP coming out, we're signed to Manic Cat Records. We're looking forward to booking a huge kind of run around the release time of that EP, and like really getting huge support from a space that I've never been in. So earlier I had mentioned that, like, I've been a for hire guy for a long time. This is it's not a project that I've been in since its inception, but I get to take ownership of this iteration of Year of the Dragon as an equal part member, along with Mark, Kareem, T-Bone, and Dirty Walt, especially. Like that, we're all equal, and that means the world to me, as I get to have a voice. Not that I didn't have a voice in like Fishbone, but like creatively, you know, and
you're getting credit on songs and stuff. You're getting writing credits.
I get to like,
yeah, that's good.
Contribute instead of being like assigned to do something. and
Now
that's
you're
huge
building
for
your own
me.
catalog. You're building your own catalog of songs,
Yeah.
songs that you're named on.
I've been, in bands that are signed to labels, but I've never signed my name to a label. So this is 20 years in, growing as a trombone player, now a vocalist.
Yeah.
And it's giving me a weird bit of anxiety. I admit to everybody, like, over this year, that I've been like, man, I don't know what to do because my identity is changing from
I think you guys are gonna be
trombonist.
fine, man. Man, a Cat,
You
from
know?
what I looked on the internet, man, they look like they're strong up and coming label, man. They do.
Yes, sir.
They look like they got their shit together over there.
And that means the world to me, to like have easy access to people who like I'm trusting our future,
Yeah.
So this
Shout
is
out to Manic K. Shout out to Manic K.
Yeah. So like we're
Manic Cat. K with a cat with a K. That's what I meant to say. Manic
and Dirty Walt, like, being on board for it was a huge choice in me signing with the fellas, because like if Dirty Walt said no, I would have been like, all right, cool. Dirty Walt said no, we ain't gonna do this then. So like him.
Well, tell Dirty Walt to say yes to some more freaking ski hats and some more merch. I was trying to get one of those Year of the Dragon winter hats, man, and everything was out.
We're
of stock.
sold out. We have some new stuff coming. And so that's why one of the reasons why I'm grateful for our signing to the band, because to the label, because doing this independently is
they'll help
a grind, man.
Yeah,
it's such a grind. It is
you got to offset some of those costs, the band incurs.
And we've been putting our heart and soul, our every little extra dime into certain stuff, like, to make stuff happen, and we're going to reap the fruits of what we planted. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm excited about that. So like that's huge. I hope to book. I hope to do Pacific Northwest. I hope to do, like, this year, after 10 years, was the first year that I got to leave the state with Year of the Dragon. Thank God for the fellas that we have who sacrificed their money, their personal money, to make that shit happen for all of us. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll get the 411 on you, man, because as I say, man, Mark Ray is coming on Wednesday, man. So
yeah,
I get to the bottom of all this.
Like that. Oh man, he's such a talented. I'm in a band full of talented guys.
Yeah,
and so
I mean, to be able to play in Mandrill, man, like, that's a serious funk band from way back and way the fuck back in the late 670s. I don't know, man. That band has a lineage that goes way back.
Yep. So like the guys in Year of the Dragon, like, have something unique about them, and one of the things that, like, I love about us is our work ethic. We work hard. We're dedicated to this craft. We are all professionals, working with other professionals, and it speaks volumes in our stage show, our preparation for the stage, our preparation and recording stuff, writing stuff. Like, I had severe writer's block for a couple of years since during the pandemic, because our album came out, Take Control, in 2019, because Walt was super busy and Fishbone at that time, and I had to go do gigs to make money. We weren't able to tour that whole album the way I feel like it deserved. So certain people are still discovering that album 5 years later now, and I think went viral. Lucifinger and our deal with Manic Cat Records is really going to push some of that to the forefront, so more ears will finally discover a hidden gem of an album, I feel like, along with a bunch of new stuff that we're working on. And so over the last, like, couple of years before this year, we had some of these stuff, like songs that should be on the album, being pre-productions,
right.
And I had to apologize to the fellas, because, like, man, I was in a hard, like, space creatively.
Happens.
You know what I mean? And like that I felt like I was dragging feet to put out some new music. And then
I think other creative people would understand that, though, and be compassionate, empathetic about it, though, man, because it can happen to anybody, man, where you got your instrument in your hand and you just don't have nothing sometimes.
I just didn't have the words to say. And so then, like, oh man, over the last year, like, year and some change. Dude, there was one day Mark, Kareem, and T-Bone sent like a couple of the new tunes, and immediately like I wrote to 3 songs like before I went to work. Like it was like, oh, okay, and I sent the demos to those guys, and I was like, I hope you like these things, and we're like, yeah. So like now those are part of our live show, and hopefully we'll make the record because I really enjoy those.
So what else? So what else are you involved in, man? So before I let you out of here, I want to make sure that all the bands, all the projects that you're involved in, man, you know what I mean? Like get some fucking hype on it, man. So we got Year of the Dragon. Are you involved in anything else? Electric Gremlin? No, yes.
Electric Gremlin, yeah. That I have to resurrect that. We just had a issue not having a drummer for a while, so now you know we got some guys that are dedicated to playing with us. We're rehearsing on a consistent basis. I have 2 EPs with those guys that we recorded. It's going to be released. I took down the singles off of DSPs because I wanted the rollout to be kind of proper. The singles were nice. I loved what we put out to be represented, but I just really want to I wanted to reevaluate how we were operating as a band, and this being something that like you can't replace me in this project at this point. Like me and my songwriting partners, like we are just, I feel irreplaceable to the core of this project, and
anybody that's bringing great material to a project, man, anybody that's bringing great material to a project, man, is irreplaceable to me, man. Yeah.
Like, so I want it done right, and we're so close to like just putting out some. Oh man, I've got some heat, like some records that like, hell, I even got Angelo on one. You know what I'm saying? Like
so never say never. Keep your ears peeled for more Electric Gremlin.
Electric Gremlin is coming. I've been blessed with the ability to perform with Voodoo Glow Skulls, another legendary ska punk band.
I know. You know what I want to ask you? How come no hip hop album, man? Could you rap to a beat and play trombone, or could that not be done?
Oh yeah. So to me, that's Electric Gremlin for me. That's a hip hop beat, horn stuff. You can find some of our stuff on Bandcamp, electricgremlin.bandcamp.com. It has our first 4 singles that we did release on DSPs, you know, Spotify, all the streaming services, but you can only find them on Bandcamp now because I took everything else off the internet with the exception of the ska inspired tune that's only on YouTube. It's not even on the Bandcamp. It's called This World Is Fucking Loco. So
yeah, that's the one that I saw. That's the one that I saw. That was a good video.
Yeah. So like there's a live performance of our song A Politician Is a Bitch. That's me rapping and playing trombone, and like, oh man, I have so much fun in the band. It took me a while to be a lead singer, and appreciate that. Outside of that, I play horns on all the Trulio Disgracia stuff. All the recent releases with Norwood that have come out are stuff that I have recorded or arranged some horns on, or like just been a part of. So it keeps my funk like heart bumping for that.
And of course, what we're here for, the main gig, man, the new single Lucifinger.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Year of the Dragon at the forefront. Electric Gremlin still on the way,
which is straight heat, man. Lucifinger and went viral. The song before it, man. 2 bangers.
Sir. 2
back-to-back bangers.
You know what I'm saying? So I really think even if we do like cut some of the extra stuff that we have off of our so let's say it's a 6 to 8 song EP. Oh man,
it's gonna be all killer, no filler though. All killer, no filler.
Yeah, we got easily twice or to almost 3 times as many of those songs. So it's gonna some stuff is not gonna make it.
EP, man. You don't have many songs, man. So you really gotta pack it.
Some stuff is not gonna make it.
Yeah.
Other than that, you know, look out for me. I should be on some Voodoo Glow Skulls new records, hopefully. You know, I think we've talked about them, including me in the recording and rehearsal process. I do still do a lot of stuff for hire. A band that I'm excited about working with is a young group of fellas and a lady called The Odd Advantage. They're a ska band from the Inland Empire out in Hemet near Riverside County.
Staying busy, man. That's the key.
Yeah, staying busy, trying to, you know, like I find myself in a unique position of being, I would consider myself like, if on a grade scale, if triple A is the top tier of the instrumental
Yeah.
trombone world. I find myself in a unique position of doing like B stuff, B, sometimes A markets, but never that triple A for a trombone player kind of market, because my friends are in those roles. So, you know, it's hard for me because like I look up to my friends, you know, like it's a really lovely network that I have, a little niche for myself. But as I transition to do more vocal stuff, Year of the Dragon is definitely going to be at the forefront for me, and Electric Gremlin as well, because those are the things that I lead as lead singer on. And Electric Gremlin allows me to still play my horn. So I really want these two projects to become my full-time thing. You know, unfortunately, you got to give more attention to one or the other. And right now, for me, it is definitely Year of the Dragon. Like, that's my number one, to get that up and running in the way that it should be. For we don't have a chance to really like to lose our window. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I got a little more time with Electric Gremlin, but like the drummer thing was a little tough. Now we're really close to being taking it back out of the studio. The 1 year I took that out of the studio, we started having really great success, but it's hard to maintain when, you know, you lose a member. So those two, for number one and number two, Year of the Dragon, Electric Gremlin. You can find our music anywhere.
Anywhere, people think
Anywhere.
of the internet. Be creative out there, man. Come on. If you haven't figured out the internet by now, something's wrong. You found your way here, you found your way there. You can find your way, man. But listen, man, now that we're in touch on Facebook, man, definitely stay in touch, man. I'd love to have you back on.
Yes,
this was
sir,
a hell of a
Rexx.
lot of fun, brother. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Definitely. Yeah. I really appreciate you. Thank you for having me, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, my pleasure, my brother. This was a lot of fun, man. Thank you, brother.
All
appreciate
right,
you, man.
Later,
brother. There he goes, folks. FLYIN Jay Armant, formerly of Fishbone, now of Year of the Dragon, who have 2 banging singles out this year in 2024, went viral, and now Lucifinger, man. Of course, Dirty Walt in there from Fishbone, Jay, Mark Ray, who will be on here later in the week, man. He mentioned all the fellas, man. A great band, man. Ska, punk, metal, hardcore, elements of everything, man. FLYIN Jay in the front, doing his thing, flipping, falling, this, that, still playing that fucking trumpet, though, like fucking crazy, man. I should probably say pause, like the kids say nowadays, right? That didn't look like a great motion, but it was my air trumpet, people. Get your fucking heads out of the gutter, man. FLYIN Jay Armant Jr. Can't thank him enough, man, for being on here, man. That was a hell of a lot of fun. I knew that it would be. I know Jay is a fun guy, man. You can just tell by the exuberance and the joy that exudes from him when you see him in these videos playing with Fishbone or Electric Gremlin, which I encourage people to go check out. And of course, Year of the Dragon. The one that I really saw that was a real banger was with Electric Gremlin. The video was from 4 years ago on YouTube, but the song was "This World is Fucking Loco." You can't forget a title like that. If you do, pull your cursor back and play it again. This world is fucking loco. Electric Gremlin. You definitely see Jay full on in there, man, doing his fucking thing, man. Full on, man. The guy's a performer and entertainer, man. He's bopping around, he's dancing, he's singing, he's playing the horn, man. A man of many talents, man. A huge honor getting the chance to meet and talk with him. Thank you, Jay. And of course, make sure to like and follow PodScum on Facebook. Let me give myself a look here one more time. Ooh. Not too bad, Freddie Mercury puppet. Not too bad. Of course, got Pops' genetics to thank for it, but hey, I'm full of gratitude. Full of gratitude that Jay came on, full of gratitude to be a Roth. That being said, also make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on this channel to stay tapped in. This is where the cool kids come to chop it up with your boy, Rexx Ruger. No place else, man. Stay tapped in, man. And like I always say, remember, take it easy and keep it sleazy.